I want to talk about like covert narcissism, government influence, and three-letter agencies because it seems like a lot of like women don't really realize this is going on. See, like let's say I want to go into politics someday as a man, right? My opponents are going to want to build a whole bunch of evidence against me to prove that I'm less credible, right? And that could be criminal record or defraud banking or illicit friends with questionable people, questionable character. And so a lot of what they'll do is they'll try and lump you into groups. Like I'm in the Starseed group, right? Because it's the Zoroastrian Arab roots, and it's a conservative belief system that doesn't include homosexuality. Unfortunately, is the three-letter agencies didn't realize this when they tried to gaslight me. Because for years, my enemy's been saying that I'm gay, right? But rather than try and silence them all, I used it to my advantage because the cops and the feds were going to try and send undercover informants to befriend me or get information on me. And because they've heard that I was gay, they're going to send gay informants, right? But that's how I know they're informants. That's how I know they work for the cops because I was like, you're not in my friend circle. I wouldn't hang out with you. So if you're trying to talk to me, you're obviously on their side. They're trying to use you to build an illicit relationship with me so that they can, I'm like just standing at work or at school, and then all of a sudden a trans person walks up behind me and puts their arm around my shoulder and they snap a picture real quick. And then they have that for the rest of the time so that later on in life, if I try and become a politician, they'll be like, oh, remember this person you were friends with? They shot up the school or something, right? So, and because of that, they've tried to do with everything. Like they try to create these gay Starseed creators online to act like they're like ambassadors or Starseed activators or Akashic Records readers or something like this. But they don't even know like the roots of like where Starseeds come from and that their alphabet community wouldn't be welcome, right? So they don't know that they're barking up the wrong tree. And I know automatically that you're a paid grifter. You're doing this as a political influencer to try and drag me down and get dirt on me. And why? I mean, let's say I don't want to become a politician someday, or it doesn't work out that way, right? They can also use that as evidence that they need to get funding so they can watch you and monitor you. And it's a lot easier for the feds to sit behind a computer and watch you tick off the hours doom scrolling than it is to watch you walk around town or go to different social functions or people's houses or stuff. That's going to take a lot more investigating, a lot more in person moving, walking, phone tapping, that sort of thing. It's a whole lot easier to keep the person isolated on their phone than you can just sit and watch a whole bunch of them easily, right? But in order to continue to get funding for them to have comfy desk jobs watching people on their computer, they need to get information. So what they're going to do is they're going to create influx of people like, oh, well, you're in this group. Well, we can kind of lump this group because Starseeds involves these readings and involves red, green, and blue in the color spectrum, and we can associate the color spectrum with the rainbow, and the rainbows are for the gays, and so then you must be gay, right? So they make this huge logical jump that has nothing to do with anything because the gays, if the gays were going to make a flag, they should have made it black and white because including colors just proves that homosexuality is wrong. So it's like it's the dumb like they and then the No Kings protest against Republicans when a republic is a community with no kings. So I don't think any of these people are very well read or they don't learn much. They're definitely not educated, so they don't know what they're talking about. And I know instantly, if you're listening and watching them, that they're posers, they're scammers, they're grifters, they're government agents, or they're the bait on the hook wiggling around. And it's just a shit app where people with no talent can throw on a lycra spandex suit and get millions of views just acting like a cunt, basically. Just can you be a cunt and make fun of people and freaking scream at people and make things sensationalize and yell? That it doesn't have the appeal for intellectuals and other people that have a vast amount of information and knowledge. They can teach like a 1 or 2 hour lecture in a classroom, but have to boil it down to like 5 or 10 minutes on a TikTok video, right? So there's this crossover where these people with no attention spans, you're trying to educate people with no attention spans, but all they see is these flashes of color and these, men in drag, and then like this other political stuff and these religious wars that they don't understand, and they just kind of like associate these things together, and they're like, oh, well, your numbers are low. And I've seen so many people, and they seem so intelligent, and they'll talk, and they're like, and they'll say stuff, well, my numbers are low, and like, all that's fake, like all that's made up, like 90% of it's bots and bot likes, and they're manipulating the out. Like if your numbers are high, it's just because you're not a threat to the system and you're a clown and you're an asshat, and people are just profiting from you making an ass of yourself. And they fix the numbers and fix the algorithm to get your video viewed more and other people who actually know things viewed less. Because anyone that can be like a political influencer and knows a lot of things, is educated, and speak at length or knows history or anything, politics, can is a threat to the TikTok agency because they just have a lot of the TikTok employees are just dropout CIA. Most people go into the CIA in their early 20s and 30s, and then they get out and then they use government money to buy like some property or something and sit back and act like renters to pay their bills while monitoring people, from a distance. But some of those people go and work for TikTok, and they're basically trying to promote a nationalist or propaganda with political vices and people to fight this way, that way. And while I might be Republican, I'm not Republican because I want to fight. I'm Republican because I'm educated. And I know what a republic is, and I know how a republic works. And then a democracy is just everything where everything's all sewn up, and there's no interjection, and everything gets railroaded in a democracy because you have swing votes where you sway a majority, but the majority of people are actually stupid. So you get a majority of stupid votes, you get the majority of the wrong decisions. And republic's better because you have an elite group of elected officials that make decisions for a whole group of stupid people. And that's why I'm Republican, not because I want to fight, but because it's the only option that works. Eugenics and biology is the only option that works. Nobody likes it, and of course, you can have a liberal scientist get on a thing and say that they found this relationship to the endocrine system and the acids and aminos in the human body and how it relates with the chakras and everything like that, and everyone will praise them. And a conservative influencer could get online and do the exact same content, but because they're talking about it in a eugenist, superiority way, people hate it, right? Even though it means the exact same thing, right? It's all about, it's a mental game. It's brainwashing people to hate other groups because they don't accept them, right? And for the most part, the more effort and energy you put into the work you're doing or into the content you're making, the more they want to steal it from you and make money off of it and leave you destitute and poor. They don't care what you're saying just as long as they can sell product or make money. I mean, like, it's all shit, and fuck the feds. Enjoy the truth.